this stream number 4. Yesterday, we finished spray painting the floor, covering up all the rust that was there, and putting up all of the sound deadening. And today we are getting on to insulation. We have 2 different types of insulation, which we'll be cracking on with. And there is some debate about whether to do wiring first or insulation first. I am going to start insulating first. If anyone feels differently, strongly, they can let me know. Welcome to the Hangout. Feel free to ask any questions, as always. We're here to hang out and schmooze and have fun together. And that's it. I'm going to crack on with it. Christian says hi. Hey, welcome. I think you're the first one to join us. Where are you calling in from? And we are going to start some insulating. Let us find a nice place for the camera. And here. How's that? Oh, numero uno. You are numero uno indeed. New Zealand. Let's go. Let's go. Close to my own homeland of Australia. Nice to have a neighbor here. We're in New Zealand, North Island, South Island, Wellington, Christchurch. Where are we coming? Where are we hanging out from? Okay. How's my audio, Christian? Can you hear me good? Does it need to be louder, or is that good audio? Let me know. And meanwhile, we will crack on with it. We have a great big bunch of insulation, Rockwool. And for anyone, Wellington, audio good. Sweet. We're going to crack on then. For those that know anything about van building, what to insulate with is a major, major debate. No way, Heidi's from New Zealand too. What's the chances? Welcome. We have 2 beautiful Kiwis here with us. I was telling Christian that I'm an Aussie myself, so a neighbor just across the pond. For those that know anything about van building, what to insulate with is a huge debate, and we're not going crazy with it. People go crazy with it. We're going to go with some Rockwool for the areas that need some soft parts, and then we're going to go with some extruded foam XPS for the parts that we can do with a firm. Oh, Heidi's in Aussie. I thought we had 2 Kiwis with us. Heidi, that's so cool. Whereabouts? Where in Australia? East Coast, West Coast, Queensland, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. Okay. Enough small talk and chitter-chatter. Time to get some work done. This is hang out and work with Zevi, not hang out and shoot the breeze with Zevi. Okay. Should probably wear gloves for this. Let me grab a pair of gloves. I usually have a bunch hanging around. 1 second. Gloves, gloves, gloves. Not those gloves. You want some thick gloves, some proper gloves, some real gloves. Where are all my gloves? I had 2 sets. I had 2 sets out, wandering around. Now we do not know. Does anyone remember? Does anyone? Oh, that would be so cool. Does anyone in the chat remember where I put my gloves? Wollongong, living in Wellington. All right. Feels decadent watching someone else work. Nice. Nice. In the glove box. In the glove box. Wow. Let's see if that's true. I don't think so. No, it's not true. But that's a good call. That's a sensible place to keep them. I found a pair of gloves, but not the ones I'm looking for. These are like kind of thick and winterized. I'll be sweating unnecessarily. Okay, I do have like a whole pack. Let me see if I need to grab a new pair of gloves. I always try and get as many of the things that I'll need ready before the stream, but such is this work. We never have everything ready. I am noticing that because I'm hanging out with Aussies and Kiwis, that my Australian accent is coming out now, which is very funny. When I'm chatting with just the American folk, then my American accent comes out. Okay, we're gonna have one last peek around the area here. We have our assorted table with work things on it for our gloves. And if we can't find it, we're gonna have to go downstairs and get more. Oh, no. Do I have to walk all the way downstairs for gloves? Don't make me do it. How did they disappear? How do they disappear like that? Oh gosh. Maybe I don't need gloves. What is the chat thing? Do we need gloves to work with Rockwool? Probably, right? What does the chat say? Oh, Heidi's van lifing. Let's go. Welcome, fellow van lifers. Yes, you need gloves. Okay. The chat says the fellow qualified van lifers say we need gloves. You know what? I'm actually just going to start with these gloves here, even though they're like kind of thick winter gloves. It's not as hot as it was the other day here. It was so hot. Oh, I could talk in Celsius now because we're dealing with people that work with the normal system. It was in the like high 30s, like I'm talking 35, 36, 37 at 6, 7, and 8 p.m. last night. And a bunch of go gloveless. Nah, mate. These are really warm. I don't like that idea. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go and pull out another pair of gloves. I'll be back. Count 2.5 minutes. I'll be back. I wonder if my mic is going to cut out when I go inside the house. I'll keep schmoozing, keep chatting, and you can let me know when I'm back. If my mic cut out, I'm going downstairs into the basement here. I wonder if we're cutting out or not. Okay, now, just to remember where I put the pack of gloves, and if that light could come on, that would be really nice. And gloves, there they are. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, I'm actually really curious if my audio kept streaming or if it cut out. And if it cut out, if it might reconnect automatically. Let's find out from Heidi and Christian, our good people in the chat. And let's see who else has joined. Okay. Gloves have been procured. And what does the chat say? Kept streaming. Sounds like I was talking through the skeletal resonator mic. Oh, it was making weird noises. Michael, welcome back. Good evening. We have some return guests here. And we have some new guests. We're here with Christian and Heidi. We're putting on gloves and we're about to get started on installation. All right. Hey, Jeff is back. What's up? Welcome back, Jeff. All right, gloves are on. Safety first or second. And now we can I also have I got myself not quite a respirator, but like a better breathing mask. Those that have been following the build know that I had a mask and it tore on me as soon as I tried to put it on my face. I don't know if I need to put a mask on for this. It's not quite like fiberglass or anything. Okay, the plan is, okay, I gotta just crack this open basically. I don't know why I'm afraid to, but there it is. No going back. This stuff is actually wild. It's made out of melted rocks or something that they spin into a fiber. Okay. Could have done that with a knife as well. So the plan is, this is not going to be the main insulator for today's activity, but it's just going to go into all the spots that the main insulation, which is foam board, will not go, because foam board is rigid, and this is very much not rigid. Questions in the chat. How am I planning on attaching the foam? I got tape, I got spray glue, I got foam, spray foam. We've got lots of stuff to get the extruded foam board into the spot. Wife and child are watching. Welcome, wife and child. Hope this is a fun evening activity to hang out and chat. Feel free, of course, to ask any questions. We're here to talk about all things related to van building and adventures and mysticism and theology and religion, all the fun stuff we talk about over at the channel. Okay, but now to focus for a second at the task at hand. I want to start with the crevices between things where I'm going to have a really hard time getting foam to go. Not spray foam, but like a block of foam. So let's pop down right here, and we're going to start right at this cavity. It's going to be our first cavity, and we're going to try and get the stuff inside. Zevi Klein says hi. Whoa, what a great name, Zevi. What a great name you've got there. Okay, this blade can get snapped off from yesterday. Do you know how these blades work? They have these little notches in them, and then carefully you can just crack off some of the blade, like, because this one's all gluey. And we have fresh blade. How cool is that? All right. I threw and totally missed the bin. Awkward. Okay. Let's do this. I have a really clever idea for how I'm going to get, well, it's not clever until it works, but for how I'm going to get this foam into like the harder parts to access. Wait and see. Cliffhanger. Okay. Should I put on a mask for working with Rockwool? Let me know what people think. I feel okay. I want to measure what we need here. That's a good question. That's okay. We want about, how high does that go? Oh, it goes quite high. We want about, how's this view, people? Oh, that's quite tall in there. Okay. 30 inches. My apologies to all of the people who use the better system, but we're here in the USA, so we're going to go with inches. We want 30 inches. That makes sense. 30 inches takes us up to there. Probably even do a little more. I would say 30, 31, 32 even. 30 plus inches, and we want to go how wide? We want to do this whole width essentially, which is, let's call that 6.5. So let's cut out a slab of 30 plus by 6.5. All right. Here's our first. Ugh, I don't want this on my skin. Whoopsies, all right. Let's see, what's the height of this? That is 23, not quite 30. So let's go lengthways. What is this in length? 47. 47 divided by 2 is 23.5. I was thinking we could get like nice cuts that would fit, but I don't think that's going to be the case if I want to go full 30. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Huh. All right, the chat has some information. It's in general, it's good practice installation with masks. Okay, I'll see how I'm feeling. Thank you. Filmed an OHS video for installation. That's great. Rockwool itchy, great because it can get wet. Pretty interesting too. It's basically balsam cotton candy. Yeah, that's what we're saying. It's you can explain to us more because I don't really know, but from what I understand, it's like some sort of rock mineral that's spun out at extremely high heats into this cotton candy is a good way of putting it. What are we reading here? I'm getting a different reading. This is interesting. This is interesting. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's do this better. Yeah, there we are, getting about 30. I can go all the way up into that cavity, I guess. But I also have that way to go, which maybe means we could do a piece inside there and then a separate piece down here. That makes sense. That makes sense, because we have this cavity as well on top that I want to fill. So we'll have a piece going here. That means that we can just actually measure from here, and that's 23. And that's 23. And that's perfect, because that is 23 down here. Look at that. 23. Okay, good. I wasn't satisfied with our earlier measurement, but that is very satisfying. 23, and the width on that we said was 6.5. Measure twice, cut once. That's 6 and a little. 6 and a little, let's say. 6 and a little. Let's try that out. Okay. 6 and a little. Let's mark that. Let's see if people can see what we're talking about here. I'm already feeling itchy. I don't know if it's in my head or if it's legit. But, okay, people can see. Cool, that's a good angle. 6 and a little. Let's give that a little cut down here. I might need a bigger blade. 6 and a little. Let's go 6 and a little. Let's notch that in on the other side as well, on the top. If people can see what's up. 6 and something like a half or so. Okay, and then we can just cut that right out. And I do think that a longer blade might help. But let's try this one out. I'm excited to try out our first piece of insulation, Rockwool insertion. For those that don't know, we mentioned this earlier. There's so much debate in like the van life world about what the best insulation to use is, and the options are endless and the debate is endless. So we're not engaging in that debate. We're just gonna stick to a pretty affordable option, which is Rockwool. Sweet. AOI says hi. Volcanic balsam heated to lava, hot again, spun out. Use it a lot on exterior of buildings behind the rain screen. Itchy, itchy though. Cold shower to keep it from getting itchy. From getting deeper. All right, that is fascinating. I actually did not know that's how it was made. Thanks, Michael, for sharing that. Late night questions from NLs. I don't know what NLs are. What exactly is considered to be a good question? That's a good question. What's considered a good question? I don't know. A good question is one which makes us think and provokes curiosity and expands the things that we take for granted. A good question sheds light on those areas that we were maybe making assumptions about and not really thinking critically. Okay, I'm trying to think about what the best way to get this in is. Let's just try shove it as far as it will go in that direction. That seems like a good plan. And then we'll turn. Can people see what I'm doing here? Yeah. I don't know if I'm blocking the camera. Let me know if I'm blocking the camera. And then that can come back down. And isn't that a beautiful first? Oh, I spoke too soon. Oh, beautiful. Okay, I'm figuring out the nature of this material. How strong is it? How much can I pull on it before it begins to break? And I want to go basically pull it all the way down. I probably should leave some little gap on the bottom. There's a little like water channel down here. Should I pull the foam all the way, should I pull the insulation all the way down into the channel? Or should I leave a gap so water can seep out? How does it, Michael seems to know a lot about this material. How does it deal with water? Is it okay if it gets wet? Will it get moldy on me? How worried should I be about it absorbing water? What do we think? NL is the Netherlands. Well, welcome. What do we think, Michael? Should I pull it down all the way into the bottom, or should I leave a little gap for water to... I mean, the truth is that... Okay, but that's a pretty good... It doesn't mold. All right, down it goes. Look how handy it is to have the chat. Okay, great. I'd say that's a pretty good, pretty snug first installation. I like how we've filled that cavity quite effectively. Cool, a little bit of space out front here, but that's a pretty nice fill. Okay, let's rinse and repeat that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more times, maybe more. I didn't count the doors, but let's go. Let's do it. Let's make some space by moving. Let's move this out of the way. 1 second. This whole stack. Without getting it on my skin. Oh, the camera's coming for a ride. Okay. This volcanic material is ready for a second insulation. Let's flip the camera around so we can see what we're going for. Okay. What did we say? We said 6N 6.5 inches or so. Just measure, make sure these are uniform. Yeah. Great. Oh, but now I'm out of the shot. How's that? Perfect. Okay. My eyesight is not good enough to read the chat from this far, but pull it down. One of their deviant qualities. Nice. Nice. Heidi's given us a little quality gesture. I'm going to see if I have a longer blade around. I didn't think about this before snapping this blade so confidently that I might want something deeper to cut through. Give me 1 second. Let me see if there's another utility blade. I think I have at least one here. Bum, 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 bum. It's in here. And here is a utility blade. Is it in here? No. It might be in here. There's a utility blade. I don't know if that's any longer though. Might not be any longer. Might have to go inside again for a longer utility blade. Let's measure. Let's see. Oh, it's a touch longer. Let's see how that does. This is like a little thin. Do they call them Japanese blades? Okay. 6.5. And we can give that a nice little cut. And then on the other side as well, let's say 6.5. And we can cut that. And we can round that blade in a straight enough line. Sweet. Second pass. Third pass. I don't want to cut into the floor necessarily after all of our... Let's flip it and cut it from the underside as well. Let's see how that works. We're learning out all of the little mechanisms. Oh. All right. That seems to have gone all the way through. Okay. There it is. Large serrated bread knife works well. I was actually just wondering whether a smooth blade or serrated blade is the way to go. I can try that out. I can jump inside and grab a serrated knife. Okay, I'm trying to not touch myself here. Okay, let's do the same thing we did last time, which was get it up as far as we can into the upper cavity. And then we can compress and work our way down and change directions and then descend into the lower cavity without hopefully tearing the Rockwool too much. Just easy does it. Sweet. And now we pull. from the bottom. I'm noticing that 6.5 might be a bit too wide. It's getting a little caught in the channel. Maybe we'll opt for something like 6.25 next time. But that looks good to me. We can go down to the bottom, Michael says. Great. All right. That looks good to me, I'd say. Sweet. Let's see if the chat's in agreement. And let's grab a serrated knife for this activity. I'll be back. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 be-da-dum. Hey, Inca. How you doing? Oh, that's a good knife. That's a good knife. Let's go. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba-dee-da-da. I have high hopes for a serrated knife. I think, given the consistency of this material, it makes sense. Okay. Let's close those blades. We don't need empty blades lying around on the floor. Okay, what did we say? Safety second? All right. Let's catch up with the chat. Let's catch up. Michael says, if I put a board under it, I can push harder and cut all the way through with one pass. That is a great idea. A little chopping board. Let's do that. Let's implement that. An actual Rockwool knife is basically rebranded bread knife with a special handle. A lot of people prefer the exact knife I'm using. Okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna try straight and serrated, and we'll see which one works. Zevi's using the edge knife, not me. Yes. Chat's worth. That's a good knife. Wholesome chat. All right. Emmanuel says, "Wow, you look like Mayor K." That's very sweet. Mayor's a friend of mine, and a good-looking human, so I'll take it. Thank you. Measure once, cast twice. That's great. I've never heard that before. Okay, I'm going to see if I have a chopping board of sorts, and then we'll continue with our chopping. What do I have out here? I have a massive board of OBS for a subfloor. It's going to be too big, won't be practical. Do I have something smaller? Oh, I have some sheet metal. That could work. Let's have a look. Oh, I knew this would come in handy. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go full metal on this one. Can you hear that? Isn't it a delightful? Okay. Let's do it again. I have a chair in here. I don't know why. It's not super convenient. Let's get rid of it. Sorry, this is some off-camera reorganizing. Okay. Let's move that down. Measure once, cast twice. All right. Sounds like thunder. Yeah. Totally sounds like thunder. I think it's such a cool. Oops. Caught you. I must knock you over. Okay. Great. We have our metal chopping board. We have our big bread knife. Where is it? There it is. And now we measure again, because this might be different. What is this? This is, yeah, that is different. Oh, that's a whole different shape inside there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thoughts about visiting Detroit. Detroit is a little far from me right now, but I guess why not? I'm gonna come to that shape later because I'm enjoying the shape we were doing until now, and this is a trickier shape. It has a triangle inside. So let's do the shape that I already know. 6, and let's just make sure that the height is the same. Yeah, 23. Oh, that was bad of me. That was all off camera. Okay. Well, that angle won't work for you guys. Okay. Let's do another 6 by 23. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. All right, let's try serrated. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. That cuts like butter. Nice. Good call. Good call. Okay. Ooh. Can we see that cut, or is it out of frame? Oh, we can see it now. Oh, that's nice. And I hear the button. Oh, that's clean. Clean cut. Thank you, Michael, for those suggestions. Okay. We're going right in here. Let's get nice and close. Okay, same as last time. Although this time we have this strut in the way. Huh. We're gonna improvise. We're gonna go up this way. Oops, he's touched it. We're gonna go up this way and then down. Let's see if we can change. We will be flexible and adapt to the new challenge. Yeah, I think that makes more sense because of this thing in the way. All right. Just nice and gently. It's too bad that that YouTube only allows people to text in with messages and not just like chime in with voices like a Zoom or something. That would be. I keep lamenting this aspect where I don't get to hear people's voices. It would be much more amenable for the type of activity that we're trying to do here. But alas, we work with the tools that we have. Okay. All right. And now we can just go back down. Massage that into the bottom. All right, perfect. Perfect, great. Great. That feels nice and full. All right. The plan for the van is to convert it so that it's nice and comfy to live and travel in. We are insulating, indeed. Reported stolen. They have text-to-speech plugins for comments that read them out in a computer voice. Huh. If anyone knows how I can get that installed on this end, that would be super. I would do that. I'm also streaming from my phone, not from my computer, if that makes a difference. It's gonna be a mitzvah tank, you bet. Explain. Gigi, you introduced it, or Gigi, you now have to explain what a mitzvah tank is. Okay, there's one more column on that side, which is the same shape column. Let's do that one, and then we'll tackle the new shapes. We'll start with what we know, and then we will move on to the new. Okay, let's make space. Let us measure once more. 6 or so by 23. Nothing has changed on that end. Just what I like to see. Okay, and now we cut another slice of our bread, our giant bread, with our giant bread knife. Okay. How do we feel? About 6 1/4 inches. 6 1/4 and 6 1/4. Great. One, 2, 3, 4. Clean cuts. Hell yeah. Need to use a tool like Streambot to connect to your YouTube account and then receive chat messages. Ugh. You'll then need a separate program like SpeechBot to handle text-to-speech conversion. Sounds like a lot of work. That's from Google. Probably also I might need a computer for that. I doubt I can do that all via my phone with limited. Okay. Next. Cool. This time, we're going to do the same. We're going to go through, I'm blocking, we're going to go through here because we have this thing obstructing this entrance here. Okay. This side looks a little thinner to me. Let's put the thin end first. Oh, I'm going to be itchy tonight. Was that right? I think Michael and Jeff can confirm how itchy I will be by the time the night is through. And this is just the, wait till we get to the ceilings. That's going to be really itchy. We're going to have fibers all over me. It's going to be unfun. But it will keep us, hopefully, warm during the winter and a little cooler during the summer. So we'll take some temporary pain for some eventual gain down the line. Ain't that right? Okay. It is like fairy, cotton candy. Fairy floss, as we say in Australia. Oh, that is tight at the bottom there. Cool. That's basically hitting the bottom and basically hitting the top. I'd say that's successful. Do I have thoughts about visiting Detroit? I've been there before. I would visit again. Sure. I mean, it's like I'm on the west coast of the U.S. right now, so it's a little far, but I'm not opposed. What would a mitzvah tank's main cannon shoot a Taurus girl that would burn up and fill in torpedoes? May they help. Ooh. Yikes. Mitzvahs. They would shoot out mitzvahs for sure. Okay. It is interesting. I think we're waiting for an explanation on what a mitzvah tank is. Okay. A little drinking break. And we get to do a mitzvah. Speaking of mitzvahs, we get to make a bracha, a blessing, some mindfulness. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nהיה b'dvar. All right. We're getting mitzvahs all up in here. Let me see what the channels look like on the doors, and if we're gonna put some of the same insulation in them. Okay, no. Totally different story. Okay. I see some more straight spots. Like not these, this is like a triangular spot, which I'm gonna come back to a little later. But I see up here, there's a bunch of these just rectangular. So let's try that. Let's try that, because I don't yet have a picture in my brain of how to tackle the triangle spot. But we will progress. All right. Charging the van with spiritual energy. Of course. Last time, Matt, I started on the East Coast and I headed west, and I passed through Detroit. No. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I did. And this time I'm on the west. Wonder if spray foam insulation would work well in the nooks and crannies. Yes, we do have spray foam. I'll show you. We have a whole lot of spray foam. And that will go in the nooks and crannies. But for now, we're doing the bigger channels. Ashley says, hi and peace. Sorry if you answered this already, but what made you want to do a van build? I did one about a year ago, and I really liked the freedom and adventure and the ability to be in beautiful nature and go on adventures, and doing it again because I enjoyed it the first time. And peace to you too. Have I seen the studies on blessings and water? Water seems to have memory. It does scientifically react to intentions. I've seen that. I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at that, but water may be more magical than we know. Great stuff is great. Okay, the installation is good. Water is magical and great stuff is great. Look. What is this? This is 23 by 21. We have about a square now that we've cut down to. Okay. Yeah, same. I didn't follow up so much on the water thing. Okay. Let's measure out this cavity and let's cut out some Rockwool for it. Okay. The distance between these two, I'm totally blocking the show. Whoopsies, don't fall over. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. There are all these like rivets in the floor, so wherever I put the tripod, it's kind of on uneven ground. Okay. This is larger than the gaps we were dealing with before. This is something like 8 inches. And I feel my legs beginning to itch. Maybe shorts were not the best trousers for this activity. About 8 inches wide. Okay, and how tall? How tall? How do we want to do this? Do we want to do a piece across, like we're thinking for down there? Or should we just go to the top with this? Let's see, let's try go to the top with it. I do decently well with the stream, as in well enough to not have to worry about funds while traveling frugally. The stream, no, I don't think the stream is doing anything in terms of finances, but the channel has patrons, people who support the good educational work we do. And if you would like to join us to support us doing the educational work we do, the streams is just a fun way to connect with the audience while we're not creating content. But it's Patreon that I'm able to travel frugally, thanks to the help of the fine people who are patrons. Maybe some of you are patrons in this crowd. Should have cut the insulation outside the van and then brought it. That's probably half the reason you're itchy. Fair enough. Good call. Good call. But here we are. I think it's just going to get itchier as we go on, and I'm just going to have to just accept that truth for tonight. Okay. This is going up to, how tall? To about 17 inches. Is that right? 17 inches is right. So let's go. Huh. This is going to be tricky. I'm probably just going to feed it through here. Let's go 17 by 8. Cool. 17 by 8. Alternatively, we could do 12. Twelve makes more sense because it's a subdivision of 24. We're going to do 12 because this is 24, 21, 23. We say 17. 17 would be 34. Yeah. Let's go 12. Oh, no, it's 14, sorry. 14 gives us 28. Gives us 28. I'm just running some numbers in my head here. 56. No. Okay. Duct tape yourself in a Tyvek suit. Totally. We are in the wilderness. We are traveling in the wilderness. 100%. Okay. I'm trying to figure out if how I want to cut these chunks. Okay. I'm gonna go for 17 by 8. Did we say 8? We said 8. Should I measure again? Do you think I can measure from seated? We said 8. Okay. 17 by 8. So let's go 23, 21, 17. By 8. I feel like I'm cutting here with my little fork and knife. All right. We can measure out this way as well. That is 8. Brings us right there. And then we can cut this away and this away. This one's going to be interesting to get into that hole. I do wonder if wearing long sleeves shirts and pants would have been a better idea. Okay. This is tedious. Spray foam is definitely a way to do it, but and people do opt for spray foam, but I can't remember why I chose this over spray foam. I feel like spray foam just is like maybe messy in my mind. How am I gonna get this inside? Should I squeeze it through this hole here? Or maybe this hole? Can I fold it? Compress it. All right, let's try this hole here. That seems to be working. That is a small hull relative to this thing. Let's see how it fares on the other end of it. It's kind of falling apart a little, but let's keep going. All right. Now let's see if we can uncompress it on the other end. Oh, it's going all the way up. Let's get it back down. All right. I'd say that worked. Sweet. Let's open that up. Get some air in there. That was not elegant, but it worked. Good. Other than mezuzah, are there any other laws related to buildings? Yes. There is a law that if you build a roof, this is a biblical commandment, you must put a fence, a barrier. And the Hebrew term for that is micah. The verse in the book of Exodus, I'm going to guess, says, "V'asisa micah l'gagecha." You should make a roof for your, a fence for your roof. Oh, I think our neighbor's here. No, different neighbor. Hey.
Howdy.
What's doing?
A little bit too fucked up.
You're all right. Paying for shared walls. Okay. Zevi, my wife, Cecily is asking, mysticism discussions aside, if we're hanging out in person right now, what are we fixing you for dinner? That's very sweet. That is a very mystical question. Well, really any kosher meal. I try to eat a kosher diet strictly, and I'm not a picky eater at all. So whatever you're having, I'll join. That's very sweet. Thank you, Cecily. I appreciate that. That's a real love language. Oh, speaking about fences and roofs, that mitzvah of Micah, in the last van, I did a deck on roof. Because that's what I saw everyone else doing. But turns out I barely used it, so added cost, added weight. It's the difference between Instagram van life and doing it for real, and then learning what you actually want and need in a van. Let's turn some lights on in here. It's getting dark. But if we were building a deck, we would have a biblical obligation to put a fence on it. Okay. Let us cut our next slice of this Rockwool. What did we say? 17 by 8. So let's go. Let's go 8 over here. And And let's go 8 over here. It doesn't need to be perfect, just roundabout. Oh, isn't that nifty? We're left with the, oh, this side would be 6.5. Maybe let's split the difference. What is this, 15? Seven and a half. Okay, we're gonna go a little shorter because then we can repurpose the rest of this cut here. Hey. Okay, that's one cut. Let me say 17. Great. All right. Ta-da! I feel like Moses coming down the mountain with 2 tablets. Two tablets of Rockwool. How do I plan to keep kosher on the road? Do you plan to have a means of preparing food in the van? Will your cooking area be meat or milk? Good question. What's the most welcoming place you've traveled in the US? And how does it compare to Israel? Oh, fun questions. Fun questions. Let's set up our next little camera angle for our next little piece of, where are we going? We're going here. Kosher on the road. Kosher is very doable on the road. So last time when I did the van, I didn't do a whole lot by way of meal prep space. I kind of kept pretty simple. I didn't even have a fridge in the van. It was a lot of dry goods, a lot of pasta, tuna is like a real staple in my life. Trying to debate whether I want to go through this hole or this hole. This hole is wider, but the edges are like cut off to an end. This has like a lip to it. I'm gonna stick to that one, I think. So I didn't have really milk or meat because I didn't have a fridge. I might be fancy and get a fridge. And what I would do in terms of keeping milk and meat separate is I would have like just a burner, basically like a propane or gas burner, and then I would just have like 2 separate fry pans or pots, and then one I would cook, because you could use the same stove because it's just a fire, but I would have one pan for meat prep and one for milk prep, and then I would have to have 2 plates, one for meat and one for milk to eat on. That's something like what I would do. Kosher food is very accessible. if you're like at any, I think any Trader Joe's across the US, you can get kosher meat, chicken, wine, yeah. And there's tons of products that have kosher certification. OU, Star K, various kosher certifications. Again, not elegant, but hopefully an effective method to get it into this spot here. Oh. Okay. All right. I'd say that's a decently filled cavity. Great. Sweet. Next one. Will I be doing more Islam and Judaism comparison videos? I'd like to. I also really want to do a Judaism and Hinduism video, but there's a lot of research, a lot that's been written, and I would have to really prep for that one. You'd feel trapped in a van for all of Shabbos. All of Shabbat. I'd have to have a hammock set up outside and chair and table ready to sit and read. Totally. You want to have a nice spot in nature and a nice outdoor. We had some very beautiful Shabbats out of the van. Totally. Cut that one piece into shorter segments and do the old side stuff and lift. Shorter segments. Oh, that is true. I didn't think of that. Or just jam it in there. God provides manna in the wilderness, so look for that totally. Try foraging. Healthy grubs growing for free all over. Totally. Lots of good stuff growing. There's so much bounty if we open our eyes. Thanks for reminding me. It's easy in the US to find kosher certified food practically ever true. Does parv food go through the same certification? Similar, a little different. Parv is a little different. Because meat needs to be slaughtered ritually, and that's not the case for parv. And cheese can have a necessity for extra supervision, and parv does not have that concern. Foraging. I would love to forage for wild mushrooms. Sounds like a good time. Sounds like a good time. Okay. Let's see how our block is doing. Block is doing all right. I hope that will expand with time, and we can stuff the next one, which is here. Let's bring the camera to a better spot for that activity. We can move our chopping board, and we can get on to our next cavity. Okay. So Michael suggested something, which is that I could cut it shorter, and then I can access through this hull. It's an interesting idea. I'm gonna try something new this time. I'm gonna go through this hull. Wish me luck. Let's hope it doesn't totally lacerate. Oh, that seems to be successful. Oh, turns out that is the easier hull. And then we can just end off by coming through and opening up. Oh, that seemed much easier. Oh, and it's right where we want it. Yeah, I'm gonna say that that larger hull, despite being a bit more dangerous because the edge is sharper, that worked. I would say that worked better. Yeah, no shifting gears. This is all. We're here to chat about all things. It's all connected and it's all good. Was I intimidated at all meeting with Moshe Dell? I was totally intimidated. He's so intimidating. He's like a genius. Well, not like a genius. He is a genius, and he has such a terrific mastery over the field of Jewish mysticism. I was totally intimidated, and I prepared so hard for it. I read every interview that he had ever given, which was not a whole lot. I spoke with many of his students who are now all basically professors of Jewish mysticism to prepare and to ask them what questions I should ask him. I wanted to ask him good questions. Most of the people in that interview series that I interviewed before him chronologically were students of his. So at the end of all the interviews, I told him that I was planning on interviewing Professor Edel, Moshe, and I asked all of them, what should I ask him? And they gave me some good suggestions. And then I remember Tomer Persico, who's a wonderful scholar and very sweet human. Was it Tomer Persico who said this, or was it Adam Ofterman? One of them. Maybe it was. Actually, I can't remember now which one it was. He said something very sweet. He's like, when you're interviewing us, it's like whatever, but when you're interviewing Moshe, it's the word that he used was, it's a document. You're making a document, and that was like in his kind of Hebrew translation. English is not his first language, but I think what he meant to say was that like interviewing us is like whatever, it's a conversation, but interviewing Edel is like something substantial. Like people will be going back and looking at it, and so I took that responsibility seriously, and it was very intimidating. He's quite a terrifying character. He also, from the get-go, he was pretty clear with me that he did not. What are we cutting? We said 8 by. What did we say? 8 by 17, right? Uh-oh, measure twice. Measure twice. No, it's not. It's 8 by. What have we been doing? 8 by 12, right? Or 8 by 13? Huh. Well, whatever it is, this is... Sorry, I got distracted. 8 by 13. Great. Someone in the chat's gonna have to remember for me. 8 by 13. Excuse me. All right. Measure 3 times. 8 by 13. Oh, Moshe Dell. When I emailed him, like initially asking for the interview, which he took like weeks and weeks to finally agree to it, I signed off the email, you know, my name, Seekers of Unity, which is like the channel, the brand, the thing that I'm doing, and he basically he indicated that he'd be open to the interview, which I was very glad to hear, but he right away was like, but I'm not seeking unity. I'm not interested in unity. So right off the bat, he's like, sure, yes, I'm happy to do the interview, but I disagree with like your whole premise. And for him, he's like, mysticism is not about unity. So that was fun. Okay, great. That was a fun question. I get to reminisce. All right, the chat says 8 by 13. Watched that video again last week. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad it's been of value for people. I'm curious to hear how people have been finding it. The interview series is absolutely phenomenal and much traffic, and made traffic much more bearable. I'm so glad people. I'm so glad that it worked out well. Yeah, you never know how conversations will go there. Conversations are organic, living and breathing things, and you can only prepare so much for them, and then you just have to just cross your fingers and hope it goes well. What would you ask Mashiach if you had question? If I had one question. What took you so long? That's the question. You're braver than me, Zevi. I've read some of his stuff, and it melts my face off sometimes. It melts my face off too. But this is the gig that I've signed up for, is to chat to these people. So here we are. Do I find it difficult to balance traditional religious values with modern norms and all its temptations? That's a fun question. Let's circle back to that. Mokhtar, how far do you accept Spinoza's metaphysics? What do you think about mystics that downplay the value of formulations to remain alone with the alone? Okay, interesting questions. You speak a lot about prayer and acting with purpose grounded in meaning, and have participated in discussions with Dr. Justin such. Can you frame purposeful ritual in a non-literal but serious way? Okay, these are great questions. How long is the back of the van? What are your plans for layout, bed, and table cabinetry? Practical question. Let's talk about that. The Sheikh would answer, there is a time to mourn and a time to celebrate. You know, it's interesting when you wrote Mashiach would answer, what came to mind was a Hasidic reading of a verse in the Song of Songs, where the passage, I believe it's in chapter 5, where the verse says, Hine ze omed achar, I'll just say it in my Hasidic pronunciation. I'm struggling to what's the word I'm looking for? To code switch. Hine ze omer achar kisleno mashkiach ben hachaloinus umeitzitz ben acharakim. That the verse says that the beloved is standing behind the wall, looking through the lattice and gazing through the fence. And the Hasidic masters point out that the translation is actually not, if we're being fidelitous to the Hebrew, that the beloved is standing behind the wall, but kaisleinu, the nu at the end of the word is possessive, which means that the beloved is standing behind our wall, meaning to say that the beloved is there all along, that we just put up our own walls and we block out that reality from us. So I thought you were going to say that Mashiach would say, I've been here all along. You just never let me in. Okay. Okay, that looks like it fits in pretty decently. We have a whole bunch of great questions in the chat, some deep, profound, and spiritual and personal, and others more practical about van build that we are currently engaging in. I'm going to field the van questions first, and then we can maybe, if we have the strength, we can take on the spiritual questions, the deep questions. Multitasking, yeah, we are. Haha, perfect concept to remember just as you're filling the very walls of your van. Touché. 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 Here we are, filling the walls. Mashkiach min hachalonos. Umeitzitz min acharakim. Oh, caught you there. You almost all went for a tumble, and I caught you. Funnily enough, one of the things that I've skipped doing here, which relates to, I believe it was Michael's question about layout, is that I have not yet cut holes to put in windows. Speaking of windows and peering through, I probably should do that and ought to. I'm just kind of pushing that off because I don't want to cut holes in the van. I want to continue, but I also want to. I think I have another light I can put up. Where's my light? There it is. These lights are so good. They're really so bright, and the battery lasts forever. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look how bright that is. Holy moly. Okay. All right. Let's cut out another piece of Rockwool. What do we say? 13 by 8? 13 by 8. And then we will get to popping it into place. Oh. Sorry, I'm going to go out of frame for a second while I do this. Hold up. Hold up. We'll be back in just a second after we cut this. Where are we traveling once the van is done? Well, we're on the west coast of the United States, which is a beautiful part of the country, so we'll probably hang out a little on the west coast. Oh, we have so many wonderful people joining us. Are we ready? Well, ready or not? I wonder if it's easier to bend it that way. All right. All right. We are getting the hang of this. Okay. Sweet. For lighting, the cheap USB LED strip lights are super dope cheap and provide excellent lighting and nice changing colors. I have them on our boat. $5 comes with a remote. Cool, I'm gonna check that out. I don't know how I feel about LED strip lighting. All right, let's chop. Dr. Sledge is Matt's rabbi's husband. That's very sweet. Rabbi Alpert. A very fine individual and rabbi who I got to hang out with in Jerusalem. And a very sweet human. Okay. Oh, I was supposed to answer layout questions. Let's chat about layout. Actually, I would love to chat about layout because I'm wanting to do something a little creative, maybe. And I would love people's thoughts and feedback. You ready to hear about my layout plans? Am I going to write some prayers on the metal sidewalls before final cover? Maybe sign your work as well. I don't know. When I did the last van, I had some friends around and they wrote some sweet messages on the inside the walls. I'm less kind of sentimental myself about that kind of thing, but if I had friends here with me, if you guys were here with me, you could sign my walls, but I don't envision that happening for me. But I like the suggestion. Okay, let's pop this next piece in, but actually, let's talk about layout a second, because that was a great question, and I want to chat about it. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, chat. Here's what I'm thinking. what I'm going for is like a lot of modularity. Modular is like the word that keeps coming back to me. I'm laughing at myself here, and I want things to be able to kind of be reconfigured and move around. Um, and so let me flip the camera around for you, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking to do like you see these L tracks, L track, L track, L track. I'm thinking to have something of a bed frame on the L track. I like the idea of a bed that can also fold up into a couch and kind of push back against the wall. I had something akin to that, like a futon bed fold down thing in Lost Van. And then what I'm really, and I'm talking about the bed first because the bed is like a big part of the build and you kind of have to figure that out. You see there's another set of L tracks up here that the van came with. I want to find a way to get the bed to move from here up to there. So it could be like up against the ceiling or maybe with a little gap and then like have a loft space beneath. And then that area could be opened up for something, a little chill area. And there's different ways of getting the bed to go from there to there, whether that's motorized or mechanical or, so that's like one idea. So the bed can maybe both fold, and maybe this is too much, can both like fold up and be pushed back or can entirely be raised. That's like one thing that I'm wanting to do. And then I am wanting to put in a partition wall between the driving cabin and the living space for a variety of reasons, for safety and privacy and temperature regulation and just for the feel of being in a home and not in a vehicle. I didn't do that in my last build, but I'm thinking of doing that this time. Is everyone catching this? This is a good question. I don't know if I'm going to repeat all this. So a partition, and then I just had an idea today, and I've been seeing like people do. I really like the look of like the L-shape entryway couch with like storage in it. Like you kind of, it feels really cozy to open up and to have that access to the door. But then you need your kitchen space. So I had this idea this morning, and this might be crazy, and I haven't seen anyone do this. This was a thought that occurred to me literally just this morning, and as I was puzzling over this, which is to have like, well, what is a kitchen really? A kitchen is just like workspace to do food prep on, and then like somewhere to heat up, and I'll have portable because I'll have like a burner stove that I can move around, and then a sink for water or something. Um, so the sink is the one part which I'm gonna have to figure out. But for all of the rest of the workspaces, which make up the kitchen countertops, I'm thinking I want to have a way that they can basically just. There's like different ways of doing this. One way is like what people call like a Murphy style, where it folds down. So like you have the couch area, and then like the couches also have like ottoman seating, ottoman storage, like in the seats, obviously, because everything needs to have storage. And then the counters like fold down on top of them, and then you can basically convert the L couch area into an L kitchen area, and then have the part the let's say there's a door in the partition, you could have like that piece fold down. Does that make, I don't know if I'm explaining that well, because that just came to me this morning. And maybe it's not a good idea, but it's an idea that made sense to me this morning. Let's put it like that. Careful with my back when choosing a mattress. Yeah. No, thank you. I have a really great like foam mattress that I used in the previous van, and I can use that again. Um, so that shouldn't be too bad. That's the basic layout plan. Let me know what you think. I'm explaining it well. Okay, I'm glad, because I really need a diagram, and I actually began to draw it up on paper this morning, but I don't have that. That's inside. I don't have that on me. Yeah, like I want to maximize, because I'm not a big chef. I don't need like a massive kitchen. I'm not going to do like an indoor shower. None of that. I want to maximize like hangout space, you know, lounging space, working space, people to come hang out with me inside. Way that could be like open to nice views and nature, that kind of thing. teeny house TV where they have couches that convert into other stuff like tables or chairs. That's cool. I want to check that out because I've only been recently thinking about this idea. Some punched extruded square stock, the square poles that stop signs and other stuff would be perfect at the top or bottom. Long edges, they're really good for bolting things in different locations. Ha, interesting. Interesting. Perfect at the top or bottom long edges. Right, that's an interesting idea because then you could move things around and bolt them in various locations. So I do have already this like this L track, which things can be bolted into like along the way. But that's an interesting idea to have that along the floor, let's say, and then I could bolt things at various locations. What are my thoughts? What's Zevi's thoughts on Christians who keep Torah? And the username of the person who asked is Christian. Christians who keep Torah. It's an interesting question. I kind of want to know a bit more what you mean by that. What do you mean by keep Torah? H. Strut Industrial Rail Track, like L track. All right. I should write that down, but can I copy and paste from the comments here? I can't. Oh, you know what I'll do? I will screenshot that so I can come back to it. Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. Okay, I screenshotted that suggestion. All right. So kosher and Shabbos, it's interesting because of all of the commandments, they're not really articulated in a way that's exclusive, as in that only Jews are allowed to keep them besides for Shabbos, which is funny. And Shabbos is described as Beni uben bnei Yisrael, Ois hi le'olam ki sheishes yamim, etc., etc. So that it's described as specifically between God and the people of Israel. So from at least a rabbinic understanding of Torah, Shabbos is supposed to be kept at least in the way that it's kept by Jews alone. That there's something exclusive about that. So, but there are other ways of engaging in these practices. Certainly, even like Shabbat, that would feel appropriate from my perspective, I guess. But kosher, like, there's no articulation of exclusivity by the other commandments, like kosher, for example. Shabbos is really unique in that exclusivity articulation and the way that's been understood by Judaism historically. All right, that was easy. We have an open channel here. Yeah, we won't be able to get XPS foam into there. Yeah. Yeah, the Noahide laws are different. The Noahide laws from the Torah perspective, from a Jewish perspective, are for everyone to be engaging and practicing. So, of course, those are for the taking. True. What's the Truth says that if, according to strict Jewish law, if a non-Jew keeps Shabbos, they are committing a capital offense. Well, we also no longer live in jurisdictions where Jews are able to act on capital offenses. So that's maybe more of a theoretical point than a practical point. A capital offense is an offense for which a person can be killed. As a Muslim reading the Shulchan Aruch, I was very surprised to see the similarities with Islamic law, even in the rationalizations. Yeah, I think there is so much similarity between the systems of law in Islam, like Sharia and Halakha in Judaism. I think they're very, very similar. Okay, I want to put I'm trying to think practically about where I'll be able to fit foam, which is rigid. Like I don't think I'll be able to fit it down here or here or here. I think this is going to have to be, all of this outside is going to have to be, you just keep finding more trash everywhere. It's going to have to be somewhere in the Gemara. It's a great answer. Okay. Right? Because if I have a piece of rigid foam, I can basically just have this and basically go in straight, which means that if I want insulation here, here, and here, I'm going to have to do Rockwool. I think that's right. And I think that might even look like something just like this. Oh, I caught you all again. Caught you all again. You're welcome. Okay, I'm just gonna actually maybe just have this piece just go around. I'm doing this very meticulously now, but I promise you, as we go on, this will get sloppier and sloppier. But if we start out sloppy, what hope is there? Speaking of not being sloppy, let's measure this and cut it instead of just stuffing it in. What are we working with here? These are the easy cavities, by the way. The hard cavities are going to be really hard now that I'm more familiar with this material and its properties. What do we say there? 13 and a half? Let's cut 13 and a half. And a half. And a half. Okay. I did not measure the width of it in terms of that direction. As you can see from my poorly fitting. Maybe this side is wider. Should we transition? Haha. 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 Great. Shabbos is one of the 10 Commandments, my friend. Zachar Yom HaShabbat L'Kadsho. Is it? 1 second. Wait. Is Shabbos one of the 10 Commandments? It's not. He checked. Or that's great. Wait, what? Wow, this is. Can we get a fact check? What are the 10 Commandments, people? Let's go. Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher tzisicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. Lo yireh lecha Elohim acher mal panai. Lo yisaseh efes l'chol tmuna. That's all commandment number 2. Number 5 is kabed imecha v'suvecha, honoring your parents. Number 3 is Leisis Hashem Lekach Lashav. Is number 4 not Shabbos? And then number 6 is 6 through 10 is Leisinov, Leisachmed, Leisigzal, whatever it is. All of the. What's number 4, people? Oh my gosh. This is very simple. We number 5 is honor your parents. It's at Parshas Yisrael. We can open up the Chumash and we can read what the Ten Commandments are. We just had them in the Parsha also, right? In Veschanan we repeat Aser Sedibros. Whoa. Hey friends. Phone died. We got cut off. But now we're back. We have confirmed Shabbos isn't Aser Sedibros. Am I Kohen? No. I am an Israelite. I'm Yisrael. Okay. I gotta pop up the phone in a way that I can also have the battery connected. If I had a longer wire for the battery, that would be Gucci. Okay. Let's go. What's the size of this? Peach tea. Hey, thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good night's sleep. I'm so glad. Thank you. Let's measure. 7.5. And that is more than 7.5. Perfect. Trey says, coming along. Chop wood, carry wood, or something like that, they say. That's right. Something like that. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The beard is a blessing from God. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. Okay. Kind of wondering something out loud here. I'm wondering. So we have rigid foam. Is the rigid foam going to be able to go in here and then go down? No, because then that will leave us a gap on the top, right? It's pretty rigid. I mean, I should probably fill this in here. That's what I'm thinking. Well, let's finish off the bigger holes, and then we'll make our way down to the small ones. How does that sound? Okay. Gotta be careful not to touch our skin while we're doing all this. Let's see what's up with the doors. Let's have a look at the doors. Whoops. I knew I would forget that there was a battery attached to that. Amen. Amen. Okay. Take some water. I think it's been long enough. We can make another bracha. Mad scientist vibes. Hey Yaakov, welcome. That is noisy. Gotta fix that. Gotta fix that at some point. If it wouldn't get hit with a copyright elsewhere, the tunes are. Seems not so strange to have a little work music in the background. True. Copyright infringement is a real concern when creating content. No one wants a copyright strike. Yeah. Oh, so you are my music. I get to hang out and chat with you. So this is my music. Usually when I'm not live streaming, I'm listening to some philosophy podcast. I've been listening to a lot of Sarah Passon recently on Jewish Neoplatonists. She's fantastic. Do I go fishing since I'm on the West Coast and there's a lot of tasty free fish on the menu? I've done a little fishing, not a whole lot of fishing. I did some fishing for Shabbat, for Shabbos, which came up earlier. Well, we got a whole contraption here in the door. Should we show the camera what's going on inside the door? That's a whole interesting bunch of places to potentially insulate. Bedtime for the little household would mean the world if you wish my son Jackson a good night. Oh, of course. It'll be a pleasure. Hey, Jackson. What's up, little guy? Thanks for hanging out with us. Your dad's super cool. Have a good night. Sweet dreams. Get some rest. Big day tomorrow. Alright. Serenade us with a story. I do have a story. I have a story that's coming to mind. I can serenade. I can entertain. But first, let's figure out where we want insulation here. Oh yeah. Pardon me. Oh, that's so good. Wow, there's a whole chunk of potential space for insulation there. Let's measure it up and let's pop something in there. I don't see any reason why not to. All these wires, all the cables for opening and closing the door. Whoa. Okay, let's measure that cavity. Let's get some foam in there. Rockwool. Okay, I'll share a story. Can people hear me? I flipped the camera around, but we're still here. Oh, I realized that I'm no longer mic'd up because the mic port is now got a battery in it. So I'm gonna have to bring the phone closer to me. Sound is good. Is that a brake line? Not a cable, a brake line. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't think it's a brake line, but then again, I don't know where brakes run their lines. Okay. Hi, Alam. Yeah, we're talking about the sliding door here. Story for the people. Here's the story. Story is, in the door, it would be the latch cable, like a bike brake line, but not the brakes. Be careful insulating that. Yeah. I'm gonna try not interfere with any cables or wiring. Try being the operative adjective, or don't pay attention to anyone's advice on the chat. If that was me, I would work passionately for 15 minutes before giving up and calling professional. I appreciate that, but I'm getting help here from my friends, so I do want to pay attention, and people have been making really helpful comments and suggestions. So I appreciate the kind compliment, but I'm also very much open to. Part of why I'm live streaming is because I want to like do this together and crowdsource and hear people's thoughts and suggestions. Otherwise, I wouldn't be live streaming. Okay, but thank you. Let's measure. Let's measure. This is oh, it goes all the way up. Whoa. We're gonna put the measuring tape the other way. Okay. Let's say 31. By 31 by 8.5. 31 by 8.5. That's long. That's 31. And 8.5 comes to, well, that's 9.5. Yeah, we want 8.5. $31 by 8.5. By 8.5. That's a big piece. Okay, I promised people a story. Story's coming. All right. So now is Chaf Av. Do you want to share about Chaf Av, Yaakov? Don't know if it would be feasible with a hot mattress, and if you'd figure out stuff for various positions, but your bed, couch, ceiling problem could be solved with a garage door-like track. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Like a track that slides. Tall track goes. Interesting idea. Could roll it halfway back into the couch or all the way up onto the ceiling. Oh. Oh, that's really interesting. Like to have the mattress, if the mattress is like attached to the frame and it's malleable, then it could just roll like a full 180. That's such a creative suggestion. Whoa. So the bed will be, the mattress will be upside down when it's in the full folded away position. that's so interesting. Thinking about the logistics of that. Let me chew on that for a second. And meanwhile, I'll share a story. Story for Chaf Av, as Yaakov had requested. So the story is, this is gonna get in the way, isn't it? Yeah, it's totally gonna get in the way. How do I mitigate that? There's a cable in the way here. There's a cable in the way. Let us... Oh, what we'll do is we'll just measure where that cable is, and then we'll just cut, and we'll have half above the cable and half beneath the cable. That's an easy enough solution. And the cable is at 21 inches. So we're going to measure 21. And we're going to cut. And we'll do this in 2 segments. Story time. There we go. 2 segments. Okay, let's get this in without interfering with any of our wiring. The story is, hey, let me change the angle so we can all see the mess that Zevi's making. The story is, so I very proudly identify as a Chabad Chassid, as a Jew belonging to the lineage of Chabad Hasidic mysticism, and I was born into a Chabad family, but my family was not a Chabad family for generations. None of my grandparents were born and raised Chabad, but both my parents were raised Chabad. So, the story of how my family came to Chabad, at least on my father's side, my father's father, is an interesting story, and it feels like a story relevant to this moment, and I'll explain why. Can everyone hear me? I don't know what that means that the bed... Oh, the bed would be limited to the height of the internal volume. Sound is good, okay, good. What happened was, I'll give a bit of history, a bit of background, which is that, so as many of us may know, the Hasidic movement was born, or the modern Hasidic movement, because there are Hasidic movements that predate Beshti and Chassidut, but when we say Chassidut, we're generally referring to the 18th century phenomena, the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid, born in the 18th century and faced a lot of criticism and rejection from within the Jewish world. I was going to say the Orthodox Jewish world, but that term may be slightly anachronistic for the time period. But what we would perhaps retrospectively or retrospectively refer to as the Orthodox Jewish world, and there was a full-blown opposition movement, which very creatively was called the Mitznagdim, which literally just means the opposition, initially the opposition to the Hasidic movement was very fierce and vocal and vociferous, and then over the decades it kind of, shall we say, dissipated as Hasidut became, as the Hasidic movement became more and more accepted within the Jewish world. But the suspicions towards the Hasidic community still carried on, even when the heat of the debate had subsided. And that all takes us to a little town in White Russia, where my great-grandfather, who I'm named after, Zevi was his name, lived. And the family and community that he was born into and grew up in was the Snagdik family, was a family of those that were opposed to the Hasidic movement. And one day there was a group of young Hasidic men who were traveling through the town, and they belonged to the Chabad dynasty of Hasidut. And because this town was a staunch town of mitnagdim, of opponents to the Hasidic movement, when these boys came through town, no one invited them into their homes. So the custom traditionally within the Jewish world of Eastern Europe was that if there was a Jew traveling and showed up and was new to town and showed up to the synagogue, when prayers were done, people would come over and say, "Do you have where to stay? Do you have where to eat? Welcome, Shalom Aleichem." But because these young men were visibly Hasidic, they did not receive that reception, and they were left to fend for themselves, to sleep and forage, whatever, in the Beit Midrash, in the house of study, in the prayer hall. And that was the reality. You know, there was a split in the Jewish community, and for sometimes better and sometimes worse motivations, that split was taken seriously, and the opposition was sincere and kept to. So anyways, so these young Hasidic, these young Chabad boys were left uninvited in the shul, and this did not really sit very well with my great-grandfather, who I'm named after, Zevi, because he was a very, from what I've been told, he was a very kind and hospitable person, and it was very much against his nature to leave a bunch of young traveling men, brothers of his, unfed along the road and unhoused. But he was torn, he was conflicted, because on the one hand, he had this side of him that very much cared and wanted to invite them into the house, and the other side of him which wanted to respect the community's decision to not invite these young men in, and were they doing something which was antithetical to Judaism from their perspective, and all those kinds of questions were looming large for him. And he decided that he would just sit and he would observe them, he would just watch them. And what a young Jews, what a young yeshiva bachim do when they have time on the road. So they sit down and they opened up a sefer, they opened up a Jewish book, and they were learning Torah, they were learning, studying. And while they were studying, it was a warm day and whatnot, and one of them was maybe sweating a little, and my great-grandfather watched as he took his shirt and he wiped or scratched the back of his neck. And the reason he took his shirt and didn't do it with his hand was because, according to halacha, according to Jewish law, while we are engaged in study or prayer, we don't touch our bare, sweaty skin out of respect for the activity, or else we have to wash our hands for ritual cleanliness. And that's why he used his shirt instead of touching his skin directly. And when my great-grandfather saw this, he said that if this young man has enough care for halakha, for Jewish law, that even in the middle of his learning, he's mindful enough not to touch his skin with his bare hand, then that's kosher enough for me. He can come into my house. And he invited them to his home, and they slept by him, and they ate by him. And while they were there, they befriended my great-grandfather's son, my grandfather. And when they continued to travel, my grandfather traveled with them and was attracted to them. And he himself became he became a chassid through them. He became a Chabad chassid through these young men. And he raised his son, my father, as a Chabad chassid, who raised me as a Chabad chassid. So I tell this story both because I'm itchy here, covered in Rockwool, and I'm remembering that. But also the story is very powerful because we sometimes think that our actions have very little impact in the world, in this very large world around us. And in this story, which is like a well-repeated family story, an action as simple as choosing to scratch one's hair with one's hand or with a shirt literally changed the course of history for me and for all of the descendants of my grandfather. So our actions do have powerful impact. Never underestimate our actions, is the moral of the story. And that's a story. No one's commenting in the chat. It must have been a riveting story. Oh, okay. People, I never know if people are still here or not, or what's up. But that's the story. Thanks for asking. Okay, next I want to tackle these daunting triangles. Let's crouch down. Let's get acquainted with this next challenge, and let's see if we can figure it out. Okay. So I want to get as much insulation as I can into this triangle. There's an entry here, entry here, entry here, entry here, entry here. None of them are particularly large. Ooh, is this bad of me? This bit of metal is not attached to the wall. I could bend this metal out. I don't know if I want to do that. I really should glue this metal back on to the wall of the van at some point. Presumably it's there for a reason, right? But a lot of it has separated over time. Have I ever read Degrees of Separation book on Ald? No, Schneer. I have not read this book. Okay. Interesting shape to try and fill from this angle. Say about 13 and a half inches wide. Well, spray foam is always an option. Attaching a bunch of wood will beef up everything. True. I do have some like, or I should pick up some like Sikaflex, I think it's called. Sikaflex? Yaakov, Laila Tov and L'chaim. Freilichen Yom Tov. How do we feel about bending this metal out? What do the engineers in the chat say? Steel? Is it good to go out and back in? What do we see? I'm waiting for to get signed off here by one of the engineers in the chat. The question is, this little bit of steel, is it safe? Is it good to bend it out? Will it bend back in nicely, or will I do damage to it if I do that? Ready to get the sawzall out. Steel is good to bend in and out once, if you don't tear it. Aluminium, no. All right. It'll never be the same. Well, that's okay. It wasn't really attached anyways. All right. Steel is bent. And that opens us up to a whole world of possibilities now. Namely of shoving Rockwool into the cavity. This is an interesting shape. Let's muck it up. And let's cut it out. And let's fill it. I think oh, Heidi's back. What's an easy way to transfer this shape onto the foam? Does not need to be perfect, just kind of fast and ready. I guess we can take some measurements. Let's go. $27, and then 7.5, 27, and Yeah, the crickets are a vibe. Okay. I'm gonna go out on a bit of a limb on this one, because it does not need to be perfect. Keep reminding myself this. Woohoo! I have a friend who's a carpenter, a retired rabbi turned carpenter. And whenever he's working and kind of just doing a sloppy-ish job, he will step back and he'll be like, "Good enough for government work." That's his catchphrase, his refrain, and I've kind of adopted it from him. So I'd say that's. Did anyone even just see, or did everyone miss that? Hey, Mark. Hi. I'd say that's good enough for government work, right? And then this steel can go back in place. Yeah, I think we did a decent job on that. Steel can return. All right. Oh, I thought that might happen. Good. Good. I'm happy with that. All right. It'll look great from my house. Doesn't apply when you're actually working it on your home. I always liked do your best and caulk the rest. That's funny. Well, we're gonna do our best and spray foam the rest in this instant here. Okay, I say that we rinse and repeat the bend the metal technique on the other side of the triangle here. Look at us just figuring out all the techniques. This metal is so thin. I have a caliper, but it's like maybe 2 millimeters thick. Thin gauge. Okay. Great. We got access. Note to self. Hey, Blake. Thank you. I hope you're well as well. Next triangle can go in. What did we say? 27? How did we get to 27? Oh, because we went all the way up. Into here, did we? Whoops. Wait, Michael, you actually an engineer? I was kind of joking before, but it seems like it might not be a joke. Let's get the read. That is not 27, that is more. 20, 25, 26 at most. I guess both Michaels. Sheet metal worker. Oh, I guess this is right in your bullpuck then. 26 or 24 GA steel. I was so enjoying the noise that this. Oh, we have. Look at this. We have a stacked chat for this activity. We are in good hands. Don't worry. No one's signing off. No one will be liable. But it's so cool to have engineers and metal workers and people that are talented with their hands. What a gift. What a gift indeed. What's that, like 8 or so? 8 by 26. So, kind of looking at this backwards. What else we got here in the chat? What else we got here? We got some artists. We got some carpenters, some fabricators. 8 by 26. That's long. Not just straight edge. That's a straight edge. 26, and then we want to have a point coming out. That's about 8. So let's go. 26 will be this edge. That's funny. What kind of seminary? What are we studying? 26. Mark that over here. And then we want to come out. It's kind of a weird angle where we're trying to cut here. Come out 8. It's kind of a weird angle. If I come out to here, wait, let's see. 8. 8 is there. If I come out to here, and then triangle, and then taper off. Okay, that works, I guess. Okay, I think that might work. It's kind of eyeballing these weird shapes here. Yeah, Heidi's an artist. What kind of artist? What kind of mediums are we working with? Let's hear. What are people skilled at and passionate about in the chat? Let's hear what people are up to. I'm a teacher. That's my. That's a pretty snug fit. That's pretty nice. Oh, that is nice. Wait, let's see how nice that was. Let's check it out. Oh, I would say that's very nice. For eyeballing it and freehanding it, not bad at all. That's a good fit. That's a good fit. Thank you very much. And the metal can go back into place. And no one is the wiser. It's not as if I'm streaming this or anything. Okay, perfect. Great. Could be a little, it could be a little chubbier to take up some more space in there, but you live and you learn. Baptist working towards MDiv, biblical languages. All right. Love to teach Greek and Hebrew in the future. Awesome. Drilling equipment for manufacturing. Love that. I love that, Blake. That sounds like you got a real plan there, a real dream. Hell yeah. Eco installation painting. Awesome. I don't know what eco installation is, but that sounds really cool. Working with trees and nature in general. Pff, awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm okay with spatial recognition. I used to as a teenager, I really loved playing with Rubik's cubes, which I guess has like a spatial component. Okay. I don't want to brag because I'm gonna inevitably try do another weird shape here and it's totally not gonna work at all. Speaking of other weird shapes, I have the exact same two shapes on the other side. If I would have been cleverer, I would have kept that one out as a template for this weird shape on that side. But alas, we'll freestyle it again, and I'm getting tired. What time is it? It's almost 10 p.m. How much more do we have to do of this? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no way. Let's brainstorm together. Are your tzitzis on a talus cup? I'm not good with Hebrew, but it almost looks like a little superhero cape. I kind of do wear it like a little superhero cape. Yeah, this is my tzitzis. They're on a small garment, which is sometimes referred to as a talit katan, a small talit. And I sling it over my shoulder like a cape. Okay, here's a question. There are these struts in the ceiling that I wanted to thinking of it now, it's feeling silly, but I wanted to insulate as well. But I think that's gonna just be spray foam. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull the Rockwool through that. It will just tear up. It doesn't have enough tensile strength, cohesion. I don't know what the term is. I have to ask one of the Michaels in the chat. Michael says spray foam. Yeah. Cool. Wow, I just got tired all of a sudden. Let's push through a little more. And then we can have something to eat for supper. Have a shower, get the itch off me. And then we can rinse and repeat. The Michaels are coming in clutch on the chat. I'm tired because it's bedtime. What a novel idea. Okay. Oh, this is so much fun hanging with all of you. Michael Dio says you might be able to brace it up there with plywood or reconstituted wood. Brace it up there. Oh. No, my plan is, thank you, I'm glad it's fun as well. My plan is that I'm gonna, here, I'll show you the ceiling. My plan is so between the struts, I want to do foam board. The question is, inside the strut is what I'm talking about, which seems pedantic. But the roof is also where the sun beats through. So maybe spray foam inside there is a good idea. What's Deo? Oh, is how to pronounce your last name. Thank you. Deo, Michael Deo. It's a cool name. Where's that name come from, Michael? Tell us the story of your family name, if you'd like to. And meanwhile, we will get more pieces in. All right. This metal is pliable. As we have learnt in our previous insulating endeavors. Look at that bending steel. I'm gonna start with this and then we can fill out the rest. Uh-oh. Getting the stuff on my legs. Where's a chunk? We have a little chunk left from the last block of it. Bending steel. It's pretty thin gauge, but it is fun to bend though. I'll give it to you. Okay, that seems fairly inserted to that cavity. And now what shape is this? We now have a triangle coming this way, and it's gonna be at its longest. What's that, 15 inches? I'm tempted to just like rub this into my face, see what happens. I'm guessing it's a bad idea. 15, perfect. That's 15 inches. And now we just want, we want to like, let's say, something like that. See, now the pressure's on because I boasted about my spatial recognition skills. So now the heat is on. I have to live up to the hype. Other way. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty good. There's no template there because that's kind of two wonky pieces. And now we gotta bend it back, which is the harder part. Oh, my shoulder is feeling tense. Oops, too far. There we go. Okay. Good. Let's see what's up, friends. There were some Huguenots that came from Jux region of France. So it's Dijux Deo. Cool. 92% of elements are metals. So that must mean that they must be very sacred. What does that mean, 92% of elements are metals? I don't know if I'm following that. Technical knowledge and wisdom. I think we all got some of it all. Oh, in the periodic table. I see. I see. I see. Okay, let's focus. Let's focus. Let's do that next triangle, and maybe we'll call it a night. Maybe that will be it. Maybe that will be it for today. Everything takes time. However long you think these things take, times it by like 4 or 5. Now, we need a new triangle for the top of that. Where are we going to source the triangle from? I also want to fill this whole cavity. Gosh. I'm going to give up at some point and just start getting into spray foam. Totally. Reading the chat is a delightful time ad. I don't think the chat, I don't think I would be much quicker if I was working without the chat, to be honest. I think a lot of the time here I'm just like deliberating. I found when I built my van last time, I spent half the time looking for tools which I had like just recently used and misplaced. I haven't had that experience here yet. Fingers crossed. Knock wood. Okay, I want a triangle for that, but that means slicing up a new beautiful block. So I'm gonna wait actually on that because we're gonna have offcuts, triangular shaped probably. So I'm gonna say that's good for today. But the plan is to come back and finish insulating all of the large cavities. So this whole cavity can get all Rockwool. This whole cavity can get all Rockwool. And the same for that whole cavity and that whole cavity. And yeah, and then everything else that's just big flat surfaces, we'll just get big chunk of 2-inch foam. All right. Thank you so much, everyone who joined us to hang out. It's been so much fun and much better than doing this alone. I've been doing it with all of you. Yeah, I would be lying if I'm saying that I'm streaming all the time while I'm doing fan work, but when my phone is charged up and I'm not on a call, yeah, I'm gonna try and stream a bunch. Something like every day, maybe every other day. So totally. This was so much fun. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Michael and Michael. And all the other people who joined us. Oh wow, we had a question here about mysticism from Shalev, which I totally missed. So we want to ask for a while how you reconcile mystical experience with the traditional view of God. When I read scripture, it seems quite anthropomorphic. That's a massive question, which has kept me up many nights. Let me see if I can answer that in 30 seconds. I heard a really great quote recently, which is that God is the name we give to the blanket that we throw over the mystery to give it shape. I'm gonna leave us off with that. So, good night, people. Yeah, I'm gonna rinse those pores out, you bet. Cold shower to start, so you don't open up and let the itch in. Got it. Cold shower it is. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Sleep well, or have a great day wherever in this beautiful little globe you are. Remember to have fun and be good. Okay, Lila Tov.